Hello, this is Bill Steffen. Happy Friday. We have an extended stretch of sunny and pleasant weather ahead. Early morning here, there will likely be some patchy fog around and some low clouds may linger during the very early morning, but afternoon looks sunshiny and just a few little puffy clouds, and that would be about it. And that's the pattern we're going to see for the next couple of days here. Actually, beyond that, probably a week or even more. High temperatures Thursday, 76 in Ionia topped the list, 75 Mount Pleasant. That's where I'm headed here this Friday for the Tim McGraw concert at Soaring Eagle in the evening. Grand Rapids at 74. Kalamazoo also had a high of 74. Battle Creek at 73, as was Cadillac. Big Rapids 72. Holland and Muskegon, those are the airports, 71. Ludington Airport 69. And all the beach temperatures had high temperatures of 66 that I saw. Muskegon, Holland, and the South Haven Beach all at 66. So a little cool for swimming, but not a bad day. Okay, let's take a look at our sunrise and sunset time. We continue to lose daylight here. We're down below 12 hours now, and the average low temperature is now 49. That means that's the average, and I have certainly been seeing warmer than normal temperatures here, but the average now 70 and 49. Record high 92. We had 5 record high temperatures in a row in 2017 in the 90s, believe it or not. And then the record low temperature 30 in 1947. That was a beach picture from Holland. A little bit wavy out there, but some puffy clouds and really not too bad a day. All right, on we go, and we'll take a look at the lake forecast. This should be for Friday. Southwest winds 5 to 15 knots, waves 1 foot. Water temperatures all around 66, 67 at the buoys, and Reed's Lake hanging in there with a water temperature of 73. I would imagine the inland water temperatures will probably be in the low 70s here, probably for the next week. So storing up that warmth, and the warmer that lake is, the more apt it is to bring us some lake effect snow here come late November and December. That's a picture from the South Haven Channel, by the way. We've had 16 days in a row now with temperatures warmer than average. All right, time out to hear this message from Ace Hardware Handyman.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
And we thank them for coming on board. Some severe storm reports from Thursday. We had 18 of them in the United States. 1 tornado which occurred near Tampa. Nothing more than just some wind and a couple of boxes, cardboard boxes that were tossed about. We had 8 severe hail reports, nothing terribly big, and 10 severe wind reports. There was 1 injury from a thunderstorm in Lawson, Virginia. That's up by Washington, D.C., and that was a tree branch that fell and hit a UPS truck. And then 5 hail reports in Arizona. You don't see that too terribly often. Let's take a look at the severe weather forecast for the next couple of days. Look at where the marginal risk is. Now, if you're a storm chaser, you got to be in Phoenix or Tucson or sitting on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, or something like that. There's an outside chance for a non-severe storm in the Lake Green area, which includes Las Vegas and southern Utah, much of New Mexico. And there'll be some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the southern United States too, but no rain in Michigan. We will stay dry. And then for Saturday, no organized severe storms are forecast, dry weather in Michigan. And I'm going to be talking about this for quite some time here over the next week or so, but a tropical storm will become a hurricane called Imelda, and that's going to move into South Carolina. And to the north of where the eye hits, there's going to be a tremendous southeast inflow that's going to produce about 5 to 10 inches of rain in central North Carolina, maybe up into southern Virginia and far eastern South Carolina. Those areas are going to see flooding and some pretty nasty weather. There could be some pretty gusty winds with that system too. More on that, though, in just a minute. Taking a look at the 66-hour rainfall map, and you can see where that heavy rain is going to start to fall. This is over the next 3 days, and then beyond that, the rains continue. But look at the area that's going to see the heavy rains. Southern Virginia, central and eastern North Carolina, and eastern South Carolina. There'll be showers and thunder showers all the way down through the Florida Peninsula and up and down the East Coast. Showers continue to mess with the Ryder Cup, which is being played outside of New York City. And look at the rain in the southwestern United States. There's some yellow in Arizona. That indicates an inch to an inch and a half of rain expected, and that's in some of the higher elevations, but certainly a possibility that places like Yuma and Las Vegas and Phoenix and Tucson could be seeing some scattered shower and thunderstorm activity over the next several days. And that's moisture that continues to get pumped up from the Pacific Ocean from tropical systems there. Okay, on we go. Here's a tropical update for you. Hurricane Gabrielle bypassed Bermuda, didn't quite reach there. It's carefully avoided land, and it will continue to move toward, actually, it could end up on top of Gibraltar, which is kind of unusual. It won't be anything more than but a showery kind of windy day for Portugal and parts of southwest Spain. Now, look on the map to the left. There's a couple other things there. There's a new tropical storm called Humberto, which is going to become a major hurricane for a little bit, probably category 3. That will kind of scoot around Bermuda and head off toward the northeast. But the one that's going to cause the problem is that red X, which is north of Haiti. That's going to eventually become a hurricane, move through the Bahamas, and then come on shore in the United States and probably near Charleston, South Carolina. And again, with the counterclockwise circulation around that system, that southeast wind is just going to push that rain inland into central North Carolina. And like I said, some of our models are giving that area 10 inches of rain. This won't be quite as bad as what Milton did to western South Carolina or western North Carolina, but this will certainly be a major storm and could produce some significant damage and flooding. Okay, we go to the Pacific, and in the eastern Pacific, we have Hurricane Narda. Narda is moving almost due west away from Mexico. It's moving toward Hawaii, though we do expect it to diminish to nothing more than just bands of some showers by the time it reaches Hawaii. But the eastern Pacific has been pretty active. They're already down to the letter N. And then we go to the western Pacific Ocean. There's really some interesting video on YouTube of the typhoon that came into the South China area, just to the south of Hong Kong. And that one similar to what we might get here in the United States. There's two storms. Niyaguri is going to make a right turn and head up toward the Gulf of Alaska. It will fizzle out and just become a windy, rainy, low pressure system. We're keeping an eye on Bualoi. I did some research on that. Bualoi is a word that comes from Thailand, believe it or not, and it's supposed to be a dessert of some kind. So maybe somebody can enlighten me that may have had that before, but I guess they're not all people names. There are other things out there in the Western Pacific, and I tried to find an exact pronunciation, and it kind of varied. So I'm just guessing at Bualoi, but that's two words, Bua and Loi, for the dessert, supposedly in Thailand. The interesting things you'll learn when you're a meteorologist. Let's move on and talk about Typhoon Bualoi, and you can see it coming on shore in Vietnam. And again, by the time it reaches there, it's probably going to be just a tropical storm, but a strong tropical storm. And I would suspect there will certainly be a little bit of damage, some flooding on the coastline there, Vietnam especially, and it will move into Laos and then eventually fall apart as it continues through Indochina. Okay, on we go. Let's look at headlines here. Dry weather for the next week, at least. Skies will be mostly sunny, with the exception of during the early morning, there may be a little bit of fog, which may lift into a layer of stratus clouds for a very short time. By the noon hour, everybody should be in the sunshine. There'll be that chance for fog, and generally light winds expected 10 knots out on the lake or less. Let's take a look at the forecast here for the day today. I think we can struggle up to about 75 once we clear the fog out. Average high temperature is 70, so that's 5 degrees above average. Mostly sunny for the afternoon, a few scattered clouds, low temperature in the early morning at 54. So both the high and the low about 5 degrees warmer than average. Winds will be out of the southwest. Humidity falls to a low of 50% during the afternoon. Now we'll go through some high temperatures over the next 3 days. This is today. We're looking for mid-70s in most inland areas. I'm checking out Mount Pleasant because that's where I'm headed, about 76 there. I'm going with daughter number 2, and we're going to try and find this smaller version of the Mackinac Bridge, which is up close to Mount Pleasant somewhere. So we'll see if we can post a picture of that on Facebook and Twitter for sure. Slightly cooler near the lake, as you can see, low 70s at the lake, upper 70 or mid 70s inland. Chicago gets to 82 today, so it'll be a little warmer down there. And a little cooler in the UP. Marquette's only 60 and 61 around the Munising area. And then for Saturday, great day to be outdoors. We got a number of activities going on, but should be in the upper 70s here. Very pleasant, low to mid 80s, Chicago, Milwaukee with the southwest wind. We've got temperatures warming up a little bit in the UP. If Marquette's just 60 on Friday, they're up to 71 on Saturday. So should be a great day. You know, plan a little trip here this next week, because it should be great to be outdoors. And then the outlook here for the day on Sunday, I think we can reach 80 or close to it here on Sunday. We're starting to see a little bit of a cooling at the lake relative to inland. It'll be low to mid 70s if you're right along the immediate lakeshore, low to mid 70s across the northern lower, and low 70s throughout much of upper Michigan. So if you're on the road this weekend, it looks fantastic. And 5-day forecast, we have mostly sunny, mostly sunny, mostly sunny, mostly sunny, and drum roll, mostly sunny. Temperatures mid 70s today. We're into the upper 70s and then low 80s. I think Monday may turn out to be the warmest day, low 80s. And after that, the temperatures tail off just a bit because the hurricane's going to come up to the East Coast, and the circulation around it is counterclockwise. That'll turn our winds around to the northeast, and we'll start to tap a little bit cooler air, but there's no real cold air in southern Canada. And if we bring that air down here, it should still be low to mid 70s for the middle of next week. So neat. Okay, long-range outlook, no change. We continue to be warmer than average. And as I have cautioned you, we have had a number of years where it's been warm in September and October like this, and it turns much colder and snowier as you get right before Thanksgiving. So keep that in mind. This is not an indication of what's to come here this winter. Taking a look at rainfall for the next 8 to 14-day period. That's October 3rd through the 9th. We're near normal here. You can see the above normal in the southeastern United States from tropical activity, especially Carolinas down into Florida, and also in the Pacific Northwest. There'll be some showers coming on shore there. All right, let's look at our weather here. We'll see what Alex and Michelle have for us. Michelle has turned in for the night because she's got a very early flight. She's coming up here to see me, so we may be able to do this together off the same computer, perhaps. Hey, Bill, what date in Michigan's history has the widest high and low temperature difference? Well, that's a great question here, and I've got some answers. I don't have the answer to the question. I don't know what the record is for Grand Rapids, but I certainly remember some days when temperatures were in the mid to upper 20s in the morning and peaked in the low to mid 70s during the afternoon. That tends to occur most often in April and October when we're getting the change of the seasons here. February 27, 28 of last year, there was a big swing. The high temperature on the 27th was the warmest winter day ever in Grand Rapids. Remember that? At 73 degrees? Felt good. I was running around outside in a t-shirt. Then on the 28th, oh, you remember that, Kitty? Oh, there you go. I don't know if you can hear the cat in the background there. High temperature on the 27th was the warmest winter day ever on record. Of course, winter is the months of December, January, and February. Then on the 28th, the low temperature was 20. Now, I've got some other information I passed. By the way, if you really want a difference between a low and a high, go to the moon or Mars. You find a really big difference there. 1988, we had a drought going on, so we weren't evaporating a lot of water, and it was all sensible heating. I remember at least one day we started out in the 40s in the morning. This would have been in early June and wound up in the 90s in the afternoon. I have seen 50-degree temperature swings in a daily basis. And what's interesting is I once visited Margarita Island in Venezuela, and that particular island has, I think, the greatest temperature difference they've ever seen on a daily basis was 36 degrees. In fact, no, wait a minute. That was the yearly difference. Temperature changing over the course of the entire year was only 36 degrees. So that's interesting. What else did I find out here? Spearfish, South Dakota. I don't have a graphic on this, but I probably should have looked for one if I had time. January 22, 1943, the temperature at 7 in the morning was 4 below zero. Then a front moved through, and they get dramatic fronts in the Black Hills of western South Dakota. The temperature rose from 4 below at 7 a.m. 2 minutes later, it was 45 above. That's a rise of 49 degrees in 2 minutes. 54 was the temperature at 9 a.m., and then 27 minutes later, the temperature was back to 4 below zero. On the screen, you can see the high and low temperatures there for February 27 and 28. 73, the high temperature. Low temperature was 50. And then the next day, 56 and 20. There were also reports of 2.5-inch hail in lower Michigan with storms that day. A tornado in Calhoun County. It was an EF1, so it was not insignificant. Peak winds estimated at 110 miles an hour. No reported injuries. There was also an EF2 tornado near Grand Blanc, and so that was interesting. I believe we had 4 tornadoes in Michigan that day, if I remember right. So wow, that's a big temperature temperature difference there. Okay, a note from daughter number 3. I'm sorry to miss the show tonight, but I need a good night's sleep. We're up early tomorrow to come to Grand Rapids. If you see me at Oktoberfest, come and say hi. That's Michelle will be there. I don't know that I will be there. I can't rule that out, though. The weather should be great for that, by the way. Okay, let's go to the next slide here and see what else we got. Oktoberfest, Grand Rapids. Yeah, Oktoberfest is in September. Why not? 26th and 27th, Riverside Park. No cost to enter. That's good. 3 to 10 p.m. on Friday and 12 to 10 p.m. on Saturday. So it starts later on today, and it should be a lot of fun. Up next, we have, let's see what we got here. September 26, 1960, the first U.S. presidential debate on, was it the first presidential debate or the first one on TV? I think it was, might have been the first presidential debate between Richard Nixon and John Kennedy. Howard K. Smith of CBS moderated. I think Howard K. Smith moved to ABC toward the end of his career. First U.S. presidential debate between party nominees. Previous debates between Thomas Dewey and Harold Stassen, Adlai Stevenson and Estes Kefauver, and Hubert Humphrey and JFK. That was, of course, a Democratic primary there. Kennedy was seen as the winner for those people that watched on TV and saw Nixon sweat a little bit. But if you were watching on, or if you were listening on radio, by a couple of percent, people thought Nixon won the debate. If you were listening on the radio, it was interesting. Next debates held in 1976 were between Ford and Carter. Of course, Jerry Ford from the Grand Rapids area here where he grew up. And that was an interesting election, fairly close. Jimmy Carter wound up winning that. And that was interesting. I remember watching that debate. Okay, let's go on and talk about September 26, creatives' birthdays. T.S. Eliot, 1988. That's the first time I'm seeing a picture of T.S. Eliot. And George Gershwin, famous composer, in 1898. Gershwin, just so many different songs that he's responsible for that are still played today. And T.S. Eliot, I don't know what the T.S. was for. We'll have to see if we can dig into that. Born in the state in 1888. Okay, up next, we have some pictures to share with everybody. John Scully, some pretty purple flowers. Purple flowers tend to attract bumblebees and honeybees. I have some red sedum right by the front door. I think I've mentioned that before, and that gets lots of honeybees on it. I've always got to kind of shoo the honeybees to keep them from getting in the house at the same time. But they're fairly docile. They don't usually bother anybody. Thank you, John, for that picture. Next, we have a picture from Matt Rogers. If you look to the left of the picture, there's an orange moon. Let me look really. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, look at that. The moon, by the way, I didn't have time to get the moon into the picture tonight. The moon is about an 18% crescent tonight. So if you're going to be outside at Oktoberfest or the Tim McGraw concert or wherever you're going to be, you'll be able to look for that crescent moon off in the southwestern sky here during the evening. And then it sets. Thanks, Matt, for that picture. And we have from John Doherty some Indian corn. That's what we called it. And it's very colorful, as you can see. Lots of cool colors. That, you know what? That would make an interesting jigsaw puzzle. That would make it 1,000 pieces or maybe 1,500. My wife likes to do just jigsaw puzzles, and I think that would be a really hard puzzle to do. Thanks, John. And then I think from John Scully, we have a picture. Oh, maybe not. We had one. Okay, be on the show. Send photos to bill@billsteffen.com. Post your questions on the YouTube page, which is at Bill Steffen 616. And my last name is spelled Steffen. That is my real name. I think I've talked about this before. A lot of times people that go into media or Hollywood or whatever pick a different name so that they can have a different name for their, or their name is a big long 14 letter name that they probably want something simpler so that the people can remember them. I've always talked about John Wayne's real name being Marion Morrison. That was his first name was Marion. And I think of Marion Ross from Happy Days. Let's see. Elton John is Reginald Dwight. Michael Landon was his real name was Eugene Orowitz, and he was from Long Island, not from the prairie. Who else do I know of? Sandra Z, if you remember her from back when I was a teenager, her name was Alexandra Zuck, Z-U-C-K. So interesting. All right, time to wrap this up and for me to start answering some mail and stuff like that. I want to thank you so much for checking in with us and staying with us till the end. Once again, the forecast mostly sunny, little morning fog, and some very pleasant and dry conditions for the next week. Enjoy.